everybody, and welcome to Follow Up Friday, where I answer viewer questions about the topic of the week or almost anything in self-improvement. And today the question comes from Snoopy622, a regular viewer, and the question is, or the request is, I live alone, and so I struggle with being motivated, having direction, and maintaining the self-confidence to strive for bigger and better things in my life. Any further advice on these topics would be greatly appreciated. Okay, well, I think I want to start with the middle part, having direction. You know, to get direction in your life, think about it as, almost like when you have to drive somewhere. You have an end point in mind. If you didn't, you would just be wandering in your car everywhere. So I know it might seem a little bit morbid, but you need to get your why first for getting motivated and having self-confidence. First, you need your direction. So you need your why. So I'm asking you to think about your end point in mind. Think about when you're no longer here, what do you want other people to be saying about you? They will say your name, Snoopy622, did this for me or that for me, or I enjoyed this or that about this person. So think about that first. Get your why clear. Think about what bigger and better, as you put it, means to you. Since you're living alone, you don't have other people as a sounding board. So you have to think about your own bigger and better life, what you want for your end point, what your purpose is, what your why is. And that was the very first chapter that I wrote in my 3-in-1 journal, which I call the Blue Journal, starts with this. And in the first chapter of that journal, one of the things I have you start with is to make a vision board. So the vision board, you will have images, words, emoticons, maybe anything put on this vision board that you will place in your environment and see it every day. And so you're manifesting these things to become into reality. So I have made a vision board, and a lot of those things have come into being because it was always there. I was always looking at it. And the next thing, when I thought about what do I want people to remember when I'm gone, I did journal about it. I'm looking at my journal notes right now. So I want people to say that I helped them improve in their life in some way. That's my why for teaching self-improvement, as I'm doing now with this channel. I have several decades of experience that I can teach to those who are younger or maybe misguided. I've made lots of mistakes that I've learned from. I've done a lot of research, and I've collated that research and my experience into books and also these videos that I'm now making. I love it when people interact with me about these topics that I'm teaching. And so you need to figure out your why of your life and also your what by doing these things. So try maybe setting aside 15 minutes each week to journal about what bigger and better means to you. Maybe it's a new job, a creative project, or something in personal growth. Ask yourself, what excites me even a little? If those answers don't come easily to you, try some new experiences like online courses, and I even encourage you to try local meetups. There's meetups.com where you can find other like-minded people to meet with, to get out and to get mixing with other people. It will help spark ideas for you. And also, if you use X, post on X about your aspirations or join some discussions to gain insights from others who are maybe chasing the same goals you might be chasing. Now let's move on to motivation. Did you know motivation follows action, not the other way around? Once you get started, then you can build on that more and more. But I know when you're living alone, you don't have anybody else to answer to, just yourself. So you might feel like, especially if you're self-employed and you're making your own schedule, you might feel like, well, it's okay to sleep another hour or two. It's okay if I watch maybe 4 or 5 videos before I get started. Maybe I'll just make a big meal and sit down in front of the TV. That you're not going to get anything done that way. So I did journal about that too, because I'm also self-employed, like you had said. So here's some of my notes, what I do. Just to get out of bed in the morning. It's not very easy when you're either living alone or you're self-employed or both. So for me, to get out of bed in the morning, I always make sure there's something that makes me want to get out of bed in the morning. So for me, it's I look forward to, in the wintertime, I look forward to a warm shower, so that gets me out of bed. I also like eating a cold orange every morning. To me, that's like candy. So I get out of bed for that. Or I might look forward to my favorite YouTube channels. I give myself 1 hour, just 1 hour in the morning, to watch my favorite YouTube channels for information or entertainment. But no more than that. I put a timer on. And to do my work that I'm doing now, which is teaching self-improvement to other people, I know that my subscribers are looking forward to my next video, so I look forward to working on that for them. I teach them, but I also learn with them as I do research, and I interact with them through comments, and pretty soon it will be live videos. And all of this is fun for me, so that gets me out of bed. It gives me a purpose to get out of bed. All right, so I also need to do workouts to keep in shape. And since I don't love working out, I use my favorite music to motivate me. I put on my headphones. I also make sure that my workout clothes and shoes are set out where I can get to them, accessible and within view. So then I know it's time to work out, and the music makes me feel very happy. I also use my Alexa app to announce that it's 3 p.m. time for your workout. And to do chores, I don't love to do household chores either, so I set myself a reward to get them done. For example, I'll say, if I do this one chore, maybe it's vacuuming, I can then allow myself to watch my favorite show, my favorite TV show, or tune into a YouTube channel that I like, that I've been looking forward to. Or if my diet allows, I'll have fat-free ice cream or some dark chocolate after I'm done with the chore. Sometimes I'll use the chore, such as vacuuming, to listen to a podcast. So I'll have the podcast going in my headphones while I'm vacuuming. So this way I can learn something while I'm cleaning or organizing. So as my notes are saying here too, what I had written about, motivation is hard when you're living alone because you have no one to answer to but yourself. Nobody notices if you're productive or not. One of the things I find very helpful, besides using productivity apps, if you actually have at least one friend that you can turn to, you two can exchange what you're doing for the day, what kinds of things you hope to get done, and then check in with each other later to see how much you got done. That can help with your motivation. Your emotional energy can dip when you're not around others too, so you might want to use discussion forums or a good friend to lean on to help bring your emotional energy up. And it's easy to fall into loops like binge watching, procrastinating, or even forgetting goals. That's why if you can use a timer, use a reward system for yourself, have your goals up in front of you, whether it's in sticky notes or on a vision board, that kind of thing can help. That's why when you're living alone, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So you want to make sure that you can see your goals. You have someone maybe as a sounding board to keep accountability for your goals. All these things can motivate you, things that I've done, and some of these other things that I've mentioned. I know Some people use whiteboards to list their goals on. Some use post-it notes. Some even use their phone or their Echo Dot. I don't want to say the name right now because she might start talking during my video. So when we see our goals, they stop being vague ideas and become part of our environment, and that's what you want. Get started by starting small. Start on what we call micro tasks. Like, don't clean the whole apartment all at one go. Just start with wiping down a table. That might be one thing. And remember that the brain rewards completion. So if you have something small that you can check off your list, that's a reward in itself. And as I've said, create rituals that you can look forward to, such as your morning coffee. If you're going to journal, maybe light a candle or some nice scent that you like before doing the journaling. Rituals make your alone time feel sacred and give them structure. Another thing you can do for motivation for your goals, talk to your future you or write to your future you and say, talk about consequences. If I don't do this thing now, what will my future me have to deal with? So that's creating accountability to yourself for the future. And as I've said before, you're not as alone as you think. Tap into the digital community power. Other people, you might not have people living with you, but you have people online that you can turn to that might be going through the same things as you. You can check in with people. You can check on YouTube also for people that are trying to do the same things you are doing. Now let's talk about confidence. I believe confidence is built by actually going out and doing the hard things and repeating that. You need to get practice, and you need to repeat that practice. Just repeat the things that are hard for you, and that will build confidence over time. And you also need proof of capability, proof of progress. You can log this. Your checkoff lists keep account of those things that you are doing towards your goals. And the more you do it, and the more you see evidence that you can do it, the more confidence you will have being built. So give evidence to yourself first by, you can have a success log where you note daily achievements, no matter how small. Review it weekly to counter self-doubt. So living alone means you have to control your self-talk. Replace your negative thoughts with affirmations based on your log. I'm someone who takes action, for instance. And share your wins with a trusted friend, or you can go on X and do that on your X account if you have one. And I want to talk about what I wrote about confidence in my own journal. I believe, like I've said, that confidence happens with practice and repetition. First of all, teaching in front of a large group is something I had to get used to. I found it very nerve-wracking at first because I am an introvert. But prepping for this via gathering materials, doing an outline, and practicing is what really helped me. So practice plus repeated action equals confidence growth. And again, here's another one where the same thing happened, and that was with performing music in front of groups of 10 or more. It was very difficult for me at first. The same thing. I had to practice and practice at home, and then do the repeated action through going to open mics in larger and larger groups. And then my confidence grew from that. I'm still practicing that today. And another one, meeting new people and being able to hold conversation when introverted. It's the same thing. I had to make sure I got out there to meet people. So don't stay holed up in your apartment or home. You have to get out and meet people. Practice conversations with people. Listen, practice listening. Repeated action. Do this over and over. Your confidence will grow in meeting new people. Same thing with interviews. That was difficult too. You have to practice those and do them repeatedly for your confidence to grow in the interview situation. So starting a business, that's something I'm doing now. You have to test ideas, see if there's a market. If so, keep practicing, reiterating what works, dropping what doesn't work, and keep going. You even have to keep going through what they call the dip, when things don't seem to be happening. First you get a lot of interest, and then things don't seem to be happening. That's called the dip. If you can get through the dip and keep going and keep getting better through practice and repeated action, then you'll get confidence and growth. The last one I wrote about was finding a good partner, which has been a lifelong search for me. Been through many bad relationships and one bad marriage to find this out. But what it really takes is knowing what you really want, who you are, and what your boundaries should be, which we've already talked about in past videos. So you have to stick to your boundaries. You keep dating and you weed out the ones that don't match up with who you are, what your boundaries are, what you're looking for. You don't want to waste time. Confidence takes repeated action and learning from your mistakes. And like I've said, you need to know yourself. And I actually think that who you are and who they are should match up in most areas to get the right person. They should match up, in my opinion, they should match up in morals, family values, intellect, temperament, and ethics. Their love language is helpful. There are many videos on love language if you want to know what that is, but basically the way they express love maybe should match up to the way you express love. It doesn't always happen that way, but it's more harmonious if it does. So like if you want marriage-minded, they should be marriage-minded too. If you only want a dating companion, then you should make sure that's all they want too. And so not to get confused or waste time. And so some of the things that are hard in building confidence, one is if you're living solo, is decision making. Sometimes you think, am I doing the right thing? You don't have a sounding board, so you can feel paralyzed in making decisions, from what to eat to career moves to life goals. So keeping a decision log to reflect on your choices will help in that. And if the confidence you're lacking is social confidence, like in dating, networking, things like that, you have to start small. Commenting online, sending a kind message, or join a group with shared interests, or go out to meetup.com, as I've said before. Your solitude is a strength, not a flaw. So you've been practicing independence, and that's very powerful. Maybe you have a lack of confidence in life skills. I can't fix this. I'm bad at adulting. What you could do, write down each time you solved a problem, even if it took effort, and keep a log of that. That helps you build confidence in your life skills. And what about your future? You have a lack of confidence in that. What if I never get out of this rut? That can lead to self-doubt. So you need to set vision-based goals. I want to feel this way. Not just get a better job, but how do you want to feel that's different? Surround yourself with stories of people who have reinvented themselves. And remind yourself, your current chapter is not your final one. You have things to work on, and you're going to go for it. Maybe your lack of confidence is about your self-worth. You think, I'm not doing anything important. No one's praising you for trying. No one sees your effort. So that invisibility can erode your self-worth. So what you should do is journal your daily wins. Even if I got out of bed this morning and I made breakfast, that's good too. That counts. Speak to yourself like someone you deeply care about. And create proof lists like past successes, compliments, or challenges overcome. So living alone doesn't mean that you're less than, but it does require you building your own inner coach. That's how confidence grows, not through perfection, but through consistent self-support. All the things that I've talked about in this video. Well, I hope that this has helped to build you up, giving you some things to think about for motivation, direction, and confidence. Thank you again for sending in your question and request to Snoopy's622, and I hope things get better from here on in and that you got some good things to look forward to. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Self-Help FAQ YouTube channel. Have a great rest of your day.